Week 11 of the fantasy football season. He has top 12 kickers. I'm ranking this week number 1, Harrison Butker of the Kansas City Chiefs. So this week's Super Bowl rematch. Harrison Butker's been a great kicker this season, pretty much hitting everything. And last year he was banged up with injury, but this year healthy and kicking the football well on this Kansas City Chiefs team. Their offense has scored less touchdowns at this point this season than they did last season. He's getting a bit of more opportunities to kick field goals. And this week, in a high-scoring ball game, I got him at number 2, Brandon Aubrey of the Dallas Cowboys. So this Cowboy offense over the last month of the season, they've been putting up monster performances and a lot of points. And Brandon Aubrey's being the beneficiary of extra points and field goal opportunities. So Aubrey, he's only missed 1 extra point all season, has hit all his field goals. And this week, he had a good matchup at Carolina, where this Cowboy team should be in scoring position early and often. I think, once again, Aubrey has a good game. Number 3, Justin Tucker of the Baltimore Ravens. So we know Tucker's one of the best kickers of all time. Thursday night football game, usually high-scoring game, even though it's a division matchup versus 2 heavyweights with the Cincinnati Bengals coming to town versus Baltimore Raven team. So I think this game could obviously come down to a kick between a Justin Tucker or Evan McPherson. In this one, I think Tucker bounces back after the last few weeks. The numbers have been a little bit down. Number 4, Jake Elliott of the Philadelphia Eagles. So Jake Elliott this season, 5 games with double-digit fantasy points. In this week's Super Bowl rematch, like I mentioned, Elliott's been one of the more accurate kickers in the league, and he's on a high-powered offense of Philadelphia that finds the end zone a lot this season and have been in scoring range a lot. And once again this week here, I know the Chiefs defense has been playing great this season. Philadelphia will be in scoring position, and opportunities will once again be there for Elliott. Number 5, Tyler Bass of the Buffalo Bills. So this Bill team, they've gotten off to a lot of slow starts the first half this season in a lot of games. And this week here, it's a tough matchup versus the New York Jets that they are kryptonite. For whatever reason, the Jets have Josh Allen's number, and he can't really move the football well. I know this Jet defense is good, but we've seen some quarterbacks have decent games this season. So Tyler Bass, I believe, will settle for a few field goals in this one. This is a must-win game for Buffalo, in my opinion, where they're 5-5 on the season, and Dorsey, the offensive coordinator, they even had to fire. So right now, if opportunities are going to be out there and they're going to be more aggressive on offense, which they have to be versus a defense like the Jets, I think Tyler Bass could start getting back to elite numbers. Number 6, Riley Patterson of the Detroit Lions. So Riley Patterson, the last couple weeks, he's had double-digit fantasy points. This line offense, they're really picking up the pace the last 2 weeks as well, with Jahmyr Gibbs getting more of an expanded role, and they're scoring the football more and getting down the field quicker as well. And this week here versus one of the worst teams in the league, especially on defense, the Chicago Bears, I think once again Riley Patterson could hit that double-digit mark. Number 7, Evan McPherson of the Cincinnati Bengals. So Evan McPherson, it's been an up and down year for Money Max. And McPherson, we know he's got unlimited range. We know he's been one of the better kickers over the last 2 seasons since he's entered the NFL. And this is a big division ball game, Thursday Night Football, at the Baltimore Ravens, where we know they got a bend but don't break type of defense. I think McPherson in this one will get a few field goal opportunities. And we know this Cincinnati Bengal offense has picked things up over the last few weeks. Number 8, Cameron Dicker of the Los Angeles Chargers. So this Charger offense, still one of the more high-powered offenses in the league, with one of the better quarterbacks, Justin Herbert. Austin Eckler's back. He's looked healthy over the last few weeks. And Keenan Allen, as long as he's healthy, which we know he's banged up a little bit with the shoulder, but should be good to go. Right now, tougher matchup at Lambeau Field. I know this Packer team really isn't that great this season, but any team coming from the West Coast and traveling to the East, and obviously the Lambeau Field, where they're used to the warm weather and indoor ball games, could be an issue. So right now, I think this offense is going to take a little bit of a step back with the things I mentioned in this one, and Cameron Dick is going to have opportunities. Number 9, Jake Moody of the San Francisco 49ers. So last week was a nice bounce back for Jake Moody and this 49er team as a whole. So Moody had 10 fantasy points. This week, a good matchup versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where their defense is a middle of the pack type of defense. But I think this San Francisco 49er offense, once again, is going to come out and have a good performance. And that means extra points and some field goal attempts for Jake Moody this week. Once again, number 10, Greg Zuerlein of the New York Jets. So Greg Zuerlein, he's been pretty much 50% of this New York Jet offense in 39 drives now. The Jets haven't scored a touchdown, so Greg Zuerlein's had double-digit fantasy games the last 2 weeks. We know he's Greg the Leg for a reason. I know the last few seasons he hasn't been all that great in terms of field goal percentage and hitting them in accuracy, but this season he's been money in the bank is Greg Zuerlein. And this week here in a matchup at Buffalo, where it's going to be a grinded-out division ball game, in the AFC East. I think once again Zerline has a top performance in the top 12. Number 11, Daniel Carlson of the Las Vegas Raiders. So Daniel Carlson, we know he's one of the more accurate kickers in the league. And we also know he's got an unlimited range as well, 50, 55 yards. So this week they travel to Miami, always a good place to kick with warm weather for the most part. And this Miami defense has been a bend but don't break defense at times versus offenses here like the Vegas Raiders. And this Raider team, they've had trouble scoring the football for the most part and finding the end zone this season with Jimmy Garoppolo early in the year. And now Aiden O'Connell, we know he's a rookie quarterback, but he's been inaccurate and tough to punch the ball in the end zone. So this week here, Miami, where they got to put points on the board, and we might see a few long attempts. I think Daniel Carlson, once again, has a solid game. And the 12th and final kicker on rankings, Jason Myers of the Seattle Seahawks. So Jason Myers, he's had a couple pop games this season. And this week here, pretty good matchup in Los Angeles at the Rams, a division rival, where their defense has been bend but don't break at times. And it's an indoor game, which obviously is always a plus. The Seahawk team has a lot of good weapons. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Smith-Njigba, Kenneth Walker out of the backfield. But I think this Ram team, they'll buckle down a little bit in the red zone, and opportunities will be there for Myers. So that's the top 12 kickers I'm ranking for Week 11 of the fantasy football season.